name is Paul Anderson, and I'm talking to Peter Armstrong, our digital missioner. So you might hear him in the background as I've asked him to speak up now and then. About privilege, you know, it means a whole lot of things, and I'm not so sure it's a very good way to approach some real issues in our society. It means too much, and really the core of privilege are rights. They're legal rights, they're rights to privacy, as indeed the word itself suggests. And let me suggest that what I think people are generally, when they're asked to speak on this in a church context, is to talk about inequality, talk about segregation, racial segregation, spatial segregation, housing, all the really intractable, thorny issues that I think most of us could agree really need correction and really need champion. And the word comes to mind is affirmative action. And of course that's a political term, and it's a controversial political term. We know that there are powerful forces in the courts and in the legislatures that are anti-affirmative action because they think they know what it means. It kind of changes in privilege, among other things, that they don't really want to see. So I would suggest that really what we're talking about is action on a whole lot of social issues that would address the issue. The positive part of privilege is freedom to act, freedom to decide what one's own life and one's own assets go to. So let me tell you a little about my life. I'm 73 and I've retired from a long career, and I was married for a while and have children, and my wife is now dead. Before she died, she did something extraordinary for me and for the children, is that she created a life insurance asset, and it was just blew me away when I realized how much it was. But I also was realizing that it was intended for looking after the children. So there is, you know, an asset that I really have to take seriously, and I have. But it's more than they need. They're all grown now, and so I've looked at ways to tithe, you know, and set up a legal basis to tithe when I die, and even that is kind of, you know, becomes an issue every so often. Some people question as to you know, why I did this, and people who apparently it's a public document, this trust arrangement, because people write and say, well, are you sure you don't want to give this money to the kids, and all that sort of stuff, is presuming that they're trying to sell a different kind of investment arrangement. On another area, we have to remember about privilege means rights. I had a real bump in the middle of my career where there was a amount of deception, I thought, and a disadvantage, and really it meant that I was fired from my job. But I was on top of it slowly. It was really kind of scary for a while, and I realized that I had the means to fight back and to keep my job. And this was really a kind of a privilege within the organization. It was a university, and there's something called tenure, but that wasn't the end of problems, because it was kind of a special appointment that I had, and that caused some resentment. Some people just kind of heard about it and stopped talking to me, because as though I had misused privilege, or, you know, invaded an area where I had no business being. And all that. So there are really some serious issues serious complications to the matter of privilege.
So we have these two words, privilege and right.
Uh-huh.
What is the difference, or are they exactly the same?
All right, privilege and right. Well, right is much more specific because it means that you have the backing of law. Okay, privilege is implies now much more general advantages, and the question as to whether there should be privileged positions, and the question in a church context is what is the moral situation, what is the moral path to get out of that conundrum, and the answer is really I just don't know, because it is so complicated and so fraught with what it means to be an American. I mean, the whole business of what the courts have declared as to the right of an individual to do this or that are all part of this very picture. But I think if back to a moral sense or a moral path for particularly of Christian belief is to level the playing field in some progressive way and make it possible for people who aren't privileged to get a foothold in this land of opportunity. Again, opportunity is really one of those issues that is, how do you achieve opportunity? How do you achieve success? And that is going to really so core to the American experience that unless you're very clear that you're doing this out of the American tradition or making changes in privilege, then you're going to meet just fierce opposition. So I think all sorts of legislation and all sorts of changes and all sorts of refinancing of areas such as healthcare, tuition, with Senator Bernie Sanders calling for tuition-free higher education in public institutions, at least examining this thing and what it would cost, whether it would be effective, whether it would be destructive of the very institutions that are the agencies of carrying on education and research and making new possibilities for our society. So it's a very serious issue and just really can't be melted down to a single theme.